One of the main things we have in this life is our consciousness. So, what I mean by that is where you place your attention is truly up to you, and you are in power of it, you're in control of it, and your consciousness really creates your reality. So I'm going to get to a dream that I had that's going to serve you, like that it was for the dream was for me, but it was also for you as well. And it's about consciousness and it's about mind control as well, which we're going to talk about, which is like a conspiracy theory topic, but whatever. There is mind control out there. Um, so let me make a little caveat. I've been working with people for a very long time, and there are some things that people are going through, addictions, sometimes anger, sometimes anxiety, depression, where they can't think their way out of it. They can't do the affirmations. Nothing's working to get them out of it, and it feels like there's something that has overtaken them. And it's like no matter what I do, I can't stop, or I can't redirect, or this thing. If I get triggered in this way, I react with anger. Um, so there are things. I've been working enough and long enough to people that I know that there are some things that happen in a millisecond that people don't have absolute control over. Now, if that is something that you're going through, and you have something like that where you're like, no matter what I do, I cannot shift it. One, be gentle with yourself. Two, from a shamanic and energetic standpoint, you might need an energetic clearing. You might have interference, and you might need something cleared. And if you go to someone who can actually do that for you and clear, then you will feel like a complete that you'll feel so much better. I don't know if you'll feel like a completely different person, but you will feel so much better, and you will begin to have power over that thing that you feel like you don't have power over. So if you have anxiety that you feel like runs you and you don't run it, or depression that runs you and you don't run it, or anger that runs you and you don't run it, addiction, same thing. So I want to put that little like side note here when I'm talking about consciousness, because I know there are some things that people really need deeper work on. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to be talking about consciousness here. I'm going to share I'll give you the laser version of my dream, and listen up because it's one of the most profound dreams I've ever had, and I really hope it will, and I know it will support you. I hope it will support you. Okay, so the dream is I'm in a cult, right there, cult. Here is how you diagnose your dreams, by the way. You have your dream. Most dreams we have, almost everything is in the dream is a representation of the self. Most dreams, not all, most. So okay, so and then you go into symbolism. So I was in a cult. So you break it down. What does a cult mean to you? Like if you have a dream about a cult, what does a cult mean to you? So I'm in a cult. What does a cult mean to me? I'll break down the dream for you so you see how it works. Um, to me, a cult means that I'm part of a community. I am in a false sense of security. A cult means that somehow I've given my power away, and I'm being controlled, and I have community. It's like this double-edged thing, right? So I'm in this cult, and we live in the woods, and within the cult, I live with my sister, not my sister in this life, but my sister in the dream. I live with my sister, and in the cult, we live in the woods, and we are surrounded by horses. All there are in the cult are people and horses. So the woods for me represent adventure, childhood, because I really escaped in the woods, mystery. Sometimes they're a little scary, right? And sometimes they like represent like, ooh, mystery, fear, but then wonder and excitement, escape. Uh, and then there's horses. It was like people and horses. There were horses in the cult. So the horses represent to me freedom. So far we have power, giving away power, control from the cult, freedom, horses, and kind of like the mystery of an escape of the forest. So I'm in I'm hanging out with my sister in this cult, and one of the leaders, who's a woman, comes in and hits my sister over the head with a big 2x4 piece of wood. Now, let me back up because there's a really important piece of this. To be in the cult, in the dream, everyone gets a shot, an injection of this like blue silvery stuff. This blue silvery stuff is in the shot, and everybody gets an injection of it, including the horses. The horses have all been injected with whatever's in the shot, and every person has. And the thing they're injecting is blue and silver. So all of the horses are this like bluish silver color. And all the people, we all have like this bluish silver hair, and our skin, we look human, but we have this like bluish kind of grayish kind of skin. So she gets hit over the head by the 2x4. I've already had the shot because I'm in the cult. And there's something in the shot that is all creates mind control over our consciousness, including the horses. The horses are very subdued. So their freedom has been taken away by this shot. I don't know what blue silver represents to me. To me, that actually represents like cosmic energy, but I don't know, it didn't feel cosmic. So this is the interesting part. So my sister gets hit over the head. I know there is a part of my mind. I know that it's happened. She's mangled on one side. So half of her is okay and half of her is not. But I know it's happened, but but I keep going on with my day. It's like, I can't act on it. I'm like, I know it, but I care, but I don't really care. The mind control of what was ever in the shot has kept my consciousness split so that I'm easily able to ignore trauma. I'm able to ignore suffering. I'm able to just go about what I'm supposed to be doing in the cult. Be a good little soldier. Like, someone could have been shot in front of me in this dream, and I'd be like a lobotomized person, like, okay, that happened. But deeply inside, I'm like agonizing that I can't get to her. But the bigger consciousness that's being run through me is the mind control that whatever was put to me in the shot. So we all know shots. For me, we all know. To me, they symbolize a lot of different things, particularly after we all went through the pandemic and that whole shit show with the shot. Meaning what I mean by shit show is how much judgment and control and fear and division and so much was wrapped up around the shot. Whether you took it or not took it, I don't care. I'm talking about that piece. So the shot through the pandemic really took on a different meaning for me, because in the past I'd be like, I don't like shots, but sometimes you gotta get a shot, right? Like, I don't like them, but sometimes you gotta get them. But in the dream, they represented mind control and something taking over. So here's where I took this dream. Where I took this dream is, and here's the public service announcement, is to be very careful around people, places, things, ideas from the outside world. And I'm going to talk about your relationship to yourself in just a second, where influences come in that you allow, because we're not victims, to take yourself out of your consciousness, that to take yourself out of your soul, to take yourself out of knowing what is right and knowing what is wrong. So I had an event happen that week that I had the shot. It was the week of the 777 portal. I was shot. I had the dream. And I allowed something to happen to me. I allowed it. I allowed someone to control me. I allowed it. Again, I'm going to keep saying that because I'm not a victim. I allowed it, even though in the moment I was mad and I felt like a victim. Not a victim. I am a 50-year-old woman. I made a conscious choice. However, I let this person control me and I gave my power away, and I was pissed about it. But my consciousness was split because part of my consciousness was like, I wanted to people please that person because I was scared if I said no, then my little girl was like, what if they don't like me? And then the other part of me was like, no, Beth, no, Beth, no, Beth. So here was my split in consciousness. And how often, just think about how often throughout the day or through your week that you betray your own consciousness. And what I mean by that is allowing something from the outside world, another person's idea, the media, maybe your boss, maybe your partner, allow that to influence you of what you really know is authentically yours. How often do we ignore that what's really going on in the world because it's too hard? How often do we do that? Like, I see that, la 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 la, but I don't want to act. Oftentimes because we don't even know what to do about it. So what I took away from that dream is how vitally important it is to own our consciousness, own our power, own who we are, and be really careful about the landmine of possible influences out there that we allow that will take us out of our unique consciousness and lead us to doing things that we may or may not really want to do. And that goes with like influencers or like people like me who's talking on a video. Feel yourself. Feel yourself, meaning like really get to know your consciousness, really get to know where you want to direct it and how you want to direct it. So that dream for me was very much of like a wake-up call. It was a wake-up call because there are so many ways in our society where we can go to sleep. TV is one of them. The phone is another one of them. Why was the TV introduced in the 50s, I think? I don't know. To redirect our consciousness, right? It's in the form of entertainment. But if TV was never introduced, we would be a very different species. We would be so different. We'd be more creative, we'd be more connected, there would be so much, but we spend a lot of time in like directing our consciousness into the TV, or some people do. I don't know. Maybe you don't. I don't. But just be careful. But I do direct my consciousness into my phone for sure. But just being mindful. And I felt like as we move forward and as the world is shifting and as the world is changing and things are coming in the level, upheaval and chaos, but also beauty and connection and awakening, this is that opportunity to really mind your consciousness. And you have the power, I have the power to direct it where we want it to go. To direct it where we want it to go. That's the last thing I'll say. If you watch a lot of, let's say you watch a lot of Democratic politics or you watch a lot of Republican politics, your car, just by default, or you live in a Democratic state or a Republican state, just by default, we get programmed if we continue to consume in one state of consciousness, in one vibration. And it's not bad or good or right or wrong, whatever it is but just be mindful of what you're consuming. And does it align with your consciousness? I've talked about this before. It's one of the reasons I left San Francisco. I didn't align with the consciousness there anymore. And it was hard. It was painful because I used to very much align with the consciousness. But now it was just hard. And it was like being in a place that didn't align with who I am anymore. And there are still some things I'm cleaning up in my environment of like what's aligned with me and what doesn't, and you do the same thing. That's I'm telling you, this is what you do with your consciousness. But being mindful, that's it. And be aware, because you know yourself, and you know when you're checked out, and you also know when you're lit up in your power, in yourself, and you know exactly where you want to be and exactly what you want to do and the intentions you want to put out into the world. So that's my dream with the blue horse in the shot. And just really quick, that's how you break down a dream. It's so easy and so simple. What did the symbolism represent to you? And then you piece it all together. It'll blow your mind. That's so cool. So next time you have a dream, just kind of maybe journal that out and you'll learn so much about yourself. Dreams teach us on such a deep level. And if you're one of those people that don't remember your dreams, it's okay. You're getting information in other ways. All right, my name is Beth Osmer, and I will see you on the next video.